one's kind of strange is it's not showing up in my feed that it's supposed to show up in, so I'm not sure why. My channel. There it is. Finally it showed up. All right. Well, welcome. And today we're going to open up Sssqueeze from the Origins playset, from the Origins figures. And we're going to compare them, of course, to the classic Sssqueeze and this cool figure here called Repto from the Micronauts from years and years ago. And hey, Mike, thanks for joining us. So I'm hoping that maybe we'll catch a little bit more of an audience also catching those people that love the Micronauts. So before we jump into this, I got a little story to tell you, because you know me, I love stories. Originally, I used to collect a lot of stuff. And my wife, who I think is amazing and awesome, and I love her, she said, just collect one thing. You got too many things going on. You got DC, you got Marvel, you got Micronauts, you got He-Man figures, you got this, that, and the other. Just pick one and stick with it. Because, you know, we didn't want our house to look like a hoarder's house because it was starting to get that way. And so I had a really hard time deciding between Micronauts or something else. Because Micronauts was my first action figures that I really got that were really cool. I mean, yes, I had $6 Million Man and I had Big Jim, but never a lot of them. Micronauts were my main thing when I was a kid. But I also loved Masters of the Universe. I knew there was a set number that I could buy, and they weren't that hard to get, as opposed to Micronauts were still kind of hard to get. So I decided, okay, I'm going to get Masters of the Universe. And so that's what became... did I not say Squeeze? Anyway, Mike, not quite sure what you're referring to there. Hopefully I said Squeeze. Anyway, so... that's what we're going to talk about then, is about a little bit about Micronauts and a lot about Masters of the Universe. So for those that don't know, Micronauts were a toy that was released in the late 70s, and it was based on a Japanese toy, and it had all kinds of cool figures and creatures. And towards the end of the line, they made these aliens that had glow-in-the-dark brains. Brains! In fact, unfortunately, all mine are kind of tattered. Here's another one, too. This is Membros, and he had a glow-in-the-dark brain. It's like some kind of weird curly hairdo. And I remember I started collecting a lot of Membroses for a while. And then I gave them to my kids. When I was 9 years old, I decided to... No, I was older than 9. I think I was like maybe 12 years old. I decided to pack them away in Tupperware for my future kids. Because I knew someday I was going to have some kids, and I knew they would enjoy these toys. So I packed them all away in Tupperware so my kids would have them when they got older. And then I gave them to my kids, and they started to fall apart. And it was kind of sad because all the metal guys just literally snapped in half. The rubber gave out on them, and my brother told me, you should have thrown in some dry ice into the tubs before you closed the lid, Todd. It would have taken out all the oxygen, and your figures would have lasted. And I'm like, man, now you tell me 20 years later, you know. But anyway, so these were some of my toys I had as a kid. You can see the colors don't always quite match. But they were fun, and some of my first customs. Like, here's my custom bug that I made from the comic. You can see he's half Membros and half another figure. And in the comic, he only had 3 fingers, so I chopped his fingers off. And my brother's like, hey, that's not really nice, chopping his fingers off because he has 3 in the comic. I lost his other hand. It's somewhere in his box. But they were cool. They were fun. Here's another Micronaut. This guy had 4 arms. 4 arms. He had a hook. And I remember I used to have him go through the city. But again, you know, a lot of these figures just did not survive the years. They didn't do them very well. And part of it was because it was my son's house for years. And then one day... probably about a year ago, my son says, hey, I got all those old mold toys of yours, Dad. Do you want them back? You know, they're in bad shape. And I said, sure, send them back to me. So my son sent me back my toys that I gave him when he was a young kid himself. But now they're like terrible shape. I mean, look how yellowed this is. This would be a fun experiment. I should unyellow this and put it on, you can see it's supposed to be gray like that. And put it on a time-lapse video. That'd be cool. Anyway, so I noticed right off the bat when I first got my first Squeeze. Actually, I didn't get my first Squeeze till I was actually an adult. I bought some different sets from people and ended up getting a Squeeze. that it just reminded me a lot of my old Repto figure when I was a kid from my Micronauts. And I'll talk about that in a few minutes of some of the similarities between them. Now, granted, he's a snake and the other guy's kind of like a lizard, being Repto, but so there's some similarities already. But there's other ones that are not Repto features that kind of mimic each other, which is kind of interesting. Hey, Charles, it's going good. I would argue Micronauts affected G.I. Joe more, the articulation and size. Yes. In fact, you take a look at a lot of the G.I. Joes, they use the same parts and pieces the way they are held together. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't think that Micronauts really affected He-Man too much, really. But except for this one figure. This one figure has some similarities that always kind of surprised me as a kid. So let's go ahead with that and let's open up our Squeeze. Now, it's funny is there was a time, and driving my poor wife crazy, that I just started buying Squeeze figures like crazy on eBay. I don't have any left from the 80s. I ended up selling them all eventually at one time. But I used to hang them and put their arms like big old S's and hang them like those monkeys, barrel monkeys. And she had like this arbor in the house. And it was cool because the original Squeeze toy, this was a tube going all the way through, and the arms were one long rubber piece, and you could slide it and make one arm extra long and one arm extra short. And I used to love doing that to make one super long arm, and then just one short arm to use almost like a cane to hold them up, so this arm could go way out super far. Now, they didn't do that again with the classics, which would have been really cool to have one super duper long, massively crazy long arm. But anyway, there you go. So let's look at the origins. I'm guessing it also does not have one crazy long arm. I've seen videos of people pulling the arms off, so we're not going to see that cool feature either. Back of the box. It shows tie up 3 warriors at the same time. Hey, should that actually even be a box thing? I mean, that's kind of like almost a given, but okay, whatever. And then it says attach pet snake to arm, and there it is. And it shows he can hold his own arm. He can hold his own. And then we have this cool artwork on the back, and look at that. We have Rio Blast, and we have this guy here that I just lost his name in my head. Tell me who that is. Mike V says this figure annoyed me. Yes, Rio Blast, but who is this guy? I forgot his name. Oh, Extendar. Extendar, that's right. And we have Extendar, which Extendar by himself is kind of funny because once you have Extendar, there is no reason at all to have Mechanic. Mechanic becomes obsolete at that point because they both have the same feature, but Extendar does it better. So I could see poor Mechanic walking away all sad. Hey, I thought I was a master. Nope, sorry, man. You're just number 2 in the next stretch group. All right, let's go and open this up. Repto. Look, it says Retro Play. Oh, his name's Squeeze, not Repto. I was thinking his name was Repto. Like, his name's right there almost. But it's not. Squeeze. Whoa, Mechanic rules. Oh, we got another Mechanic lover here. Who is it? Who was it? Pop Actor. That's okay, man. You can love Mechanic. All right, so Fate Fortress, and here's some stuff from it. Awesome artwork. I love the artwork they have. Oh, look at that. Look at that. The Collector. The Collector. What's funny is they refer to us as collectors, so this ship is us, basically, in a mechanical version. We are the Collector. So we're part of Skeletor's evil crew. All right. Let's see what's removable. What is removable? The head, the arms, the waist, the feet. Just like I suspected. Let's get him out of here. And of course, I still don't have scissors. Oh, I got scissors in here. Hooray. I got my AA scissors. You're probably wondering why I label everything, right? I got my AA scissors. I got my number 2 light. Hold on a second. I got my other AA light fully charged. The reason why I number them is and letter them so I know which ones are being used most often as they wear out. So my AA light is extra bright. That's why it's AA. Where the 1 and 2 lights are a little dimmer, and my AA scissors are the first ones I was using that are almost worn out. So I know when they get put to pasture, I know which scissors are which. So that is why I number and letter them. So the AA scissors were never used for cutting armor usually. That's what the 1 and 2 scissors are for. There we go. Otherwise, you end up sacrificing all your scissors because you don't forget which ones are which, and then you start, using them. It's funny, he just seems so small next to the classics. I didn't realize there was so much disparity in size compared to them. It feels different. Now, it's funny is Mattel was asked at one time, why did you make classics so big compared to the old 80s figures, which now the origins are the same size? And they had a really cool answer. Their answer was because these are made for adult collectors, and it feels the same in your hand as these did when you were a kid hanging on to them. And they're right. My hand was about that size in comparison to this figure back when I first started getting these. So that's such a cool idea to make them bigger to match your hand that you were when you were a kid. When I was a kid, I had this stuffed dog. And this stuffed dog was huge. It was monstrous. And I moved to California and was there for a number of years. And my stuff was put in storage. And I kept telling everybody about this monstrous stuffed dog I had. And when I got back to Washington and I found the dog in storage, he was pretty small. I was so surprised how small he was. But when I left, I was only 6 years old. When I came back, I was a lot older. And so it was kind of funny how much I grew compared to the dog, which didn't grow at all because it was a stuffed animal. So it was kind of funny, the difference. All right, so let's take a look at Squeeze. He is cool. He's got wiry arms with rubber coating, so you can move them all kinds of ways. They said you can hold 3 figures, so let's test it out and see. Put your arm down so you can hold yourself up, man. So I have one here, a 1. You know what? Let's see what they show on the back of the box. Oh, they show He-Man, Man-at-Arms, and Tila. So let's go ahead and mirror and mimic that. I gotta get my top 11 out. The top 11. Man-at-Arms. He-Man. And Tila. Oh, she's getting wrapped up in Beastman's whip. And let's see if we can copy the picture on the back of the box. All right. So it shows He-Man in front, Man-Arms in back, and of course Tila right next to his face. So, Let's pull your sword out of there, man. Pull your sword out. And Man-at-Arms. Let's go ahead and wrap these arms around. See if we can't get all 3 trapped in there. And dun-da-da. Not the best trapping, but you can get 3 squished in there. There we go. Box proved. All right. Let's set these all aside for right now. All right, he's got ankle articulation. He has boot cut, single jointed knee. He has a not thigh cut, but a hip movement. He has waist movement. He has shoulder movement. And since the arm's one piece, it just is an infinite number of jointed points. And then he has his head that moves, mouth not articulated. There we go. There's the breakdown. And he comes apart. Wow. Really easy. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why does this figure remind me of Repto? Well, first of all, he's green. He's green. Okay, that's not that big of a deal. There are green figures all over the place. 2, his head is a little bit shaped the same. Not exactly, but they both kind of have the long nose. Not that big of a deal difference. But 3, and most notably, is they both have these pads on their legs. And that's what really brought me to there, because on my custom figure, I painted mine gray on here, and it just kind of shocked me that they had the pads up on the legs the same way. So I wonder if the person who designed this figure happened to have either Micronauts as a teen or a kid, or his kids did, and just liked the idea. And look, he's got the bumpies, and he has the bumpies here. So there are a lot of similarities when it comes to the legs. Now, granted, he also has the leg pads down below too, and he just has boots down below. But it always kind of shocked me seeing these leg pads on his thighs when I had this figure as a kid having the same thing, because it's not a common Masters of the Universe thing. I can't think of any other figure that has leg pads like that was brought up at this time. So that is why he reminds me of my Repto so much, is the legs right there. Well, of course, the snout and the green and everything else. Now, of course, back in the Micronauts days, they didn't do a lot of paint apps. They were just plastic colors. So that's why they're just one solid green like that. But anyway, so that was the reason why I thought that was because of those leg pads. Now, he normally came with wings, and he had a big giant saw right here and a gun on this side. You know what? I'll just show you a picture. Mike says it's close to leg pads. Is he vintage? This is not the vintage figure. This is the Origins. This figure is from the 70s. This is the original figures from the late 70s. So it is old. Micronauts Repto. There we go. And images, there it is, first off the bat. So here's what the figure normally used to look like. And you can see, of course, he's different because he has wings too. You can see he has, that's the wrong gun. That's not it. There we go. Here's what the figure looked like. And so he had this big old saw and the gun. It was pretty cool. I actually used this saw blade to make something for Trap Jaw one time. And I sent it to my friend to make a copy of it. I don't remember what happened to the red one after that. I don't know if my friend still has it or not. But, yep. He was one of my favorite Micronauts. He's pretty cool. Not my most favorite, but he's pretty cool. Anyway, see, there's the other guy with the 4 arms. Oh! There's all 3 of them. Dun-da-da! And I remember I had to replace the wire on here. It always snapped. It was made of hard plastic. So I used to take a red wire. They used to have some red wires from some science kits I had. And I would use the rubber from those wires to make bends. Let me see if I still got one on this one. Oh yeah, see? I actually added that wire bendy piece in there so it wouldn't snap. And so I literally hooked them on and stick them on there so that they had a bending spot. So because that's where it would turn white. So that was my little fix I did, so it wouldn't break the wires anymore. Because this wire plugged into his gun, and you can see how it sits right there. I got the gun. I've got the gun. Oops, almost dropped the gun. Boop. There we go. There's the hole. And so you can see the amount of tension when you put on that when you move it forward. And that's why I added that little rubber piece in there from the insulation of a red wire. See, even back then I was customizing. I mean, my first custom I did when I was just like 2 years old. It was one of those Fisher Price people. I made a human with a dog head. So, yep, I've been customizing as long as I can remember. Making things the way I want them to be. Anyway, so let's go ahead and talk about Classics versus Origins. Now, of course, Classics has a few little more details to it. I wish I had the original to show you, because to tell you the truth, out of these 3, my favorite actually is the original. And the reason why is not because of the sculpting or because of the paint apps, but it had one reason only, and that's because of the arm going straight through, so you could literally pull it and make one arm long and one arm short. that feature was so cool because you could have one arm super long and wrap it around stuff or hanging from stuff or whatever else. It just made it fun to be able to alter it. Now, of course, I would sit there and try to line the arm up to the exact same length on both sides sometimes. But other times I'd purposely give him one little short arm and one super long arm. It was cool. I should try to find one on eBay just to have fun with it. All right, let me look at your guys' comments. Back to YouTube. Back to YouTube. Let's take a look. Juan Solo. Todd, stop breaking your toys. It's close with the pads. Is he vintage? Yes. Fair enough. But I'm going to vote no on the Squeeze being based on Repto. If you look at the Emerald Tree boss, they got the same bright green skin, pale eyes, and they're also constrictors. Yes. Nope, Squeeze was not in the 70s. Squeeze was actually some of the last figures released in the 80s. I think he was 85. He might have been 84. Probably 85, I'm guessing. That's when Squeeze was probably released originally. Those Micronaut monsters were designed by Mego, unlike the Silverhead Micronauts. Yes, Mego did make those. The Silverhead Micronauts were actually based on a Japanese toy. That is pretty cool. I had Squeeze as a kid. It was hard to put on my shelf to play. He always fell because it's heavy. Yes, I remember the Squeeze that I used to have. I used to take and bend one arm over and just set it up to be his support arm. And then the other arm you could then put the way you wanted to. So you got to almost use that first arm like a tail. Then I'd always put the purple arm thing onto the arm on the ground. And signs I would put one of those snake staffs in his arm too on the one on the ground. Whatever. Yep. He is not wanting to cooperate as much because he's jointed up here at the top. That joint is causing the arm to not have the same force that the arms had when it was one piece all the way across. When it was one piece all the way across, when you lifted this arm, it would fight against this arm so it wouldn't fall over. But being that they're separate pieces, let me see if he can hold up a figure by their arm. So he can grab He-Man by the wrist. And see, back then, if you could balance it right, you can make Squeeze a force to be reckoned with. Let's see if I can get the balance. Oh, and onto the ground he goes. Oh, and there goes He-Man. Okay, let me back this up. Let's see if we can't get this to work. I'll do his leg. That's way cooler anyway. Okay. Come on, Squeeze. You can do it. Yeah, the problem is being his arms articulated separately at the shoulder makes it really hard. And the wire's not as strong as it was back in the 80s either. Because I used to do this all the time. Oh! It's just too much weight. Let me shrink this leg down, bring this leg straight so we can shift the center of balance. Almost got it. You can do it. Come on, Squeeze. Ho! We got it now. He's got He-Man suspended by the leg. Granted, it's not very high, and it's against his head. Oh, and that's the end of it. Don't breathe. Squeeze is a menace. But let's have some fun. Let's have some fun, shall we? He's about the same color green. Let Dun da da. Dun da 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 da. Actually, that looks pretty cool. Give our frog some extra long arms. Ho! Ho! I hate the way this guy looks. Ah! Okay. Where be the other snake guys? Here we go. That looks so creepy. Brr, brr, brr. Oh, he's got lots of green. He's not a snake guy, but let's see what we can do with him. Does that green match better? Nope. No. There's kind of a yellowish, too yellow. I can't find my tongue lasher. Tongue lasher, where are you? Oh. Ah. I lost my tongue lasher somewhere. I don't know where I put him. Oh well. It's been fun, you guys. I'm going to go and end this. Let's see. Squeeze has a bra like Skeletor. Mike said it so. That's funny. Yeah, Whiplash arms are close. They're probably closer than these arms are. You know what? If I was to put this head on him, and switch out the legs, and then give him his regular green arms back again, he actually looks almost closer now to my Repto figure. Now he has a tail, because now he's got the tail too, and he had a tail. So it's getting closer. All he now has big old red wings on him and need to be set. Thanks, Charles. I appreciate it. Yep, Charles, or Chris. Sorry, Chris, you're here for a live feed. All right, anyway, this room is burning up with all the lights. I am just roasting. I need to get some water. Got my water. And that's about it, I think. Black Phoenix 77, thanks for being here. Pop Actor, thanks for being here. Let's see, is that so cool? So cool? Thanks for being here. Plus, Emerald Tree boas have long snouts packed with sharp teeth, and they have high dome skulls that are actually bulging jaw muscles. Wow. Hey, Cobweb, thanks for being here. Jamie, thanks for being here. Did I miss anybody? Unicron, thanks for being here. And Charles, thanks for being here as well. Good to have all you guys here. All right. With that, like, subscribe, tell your friends. And, He Snake says, we're out of here. Such a cool guy. Look at that. Whoo, whoo. He Snake. And the snakes of the universe. I didn't miss Juan Soto, did I? Oh, anyway, if I did, hey, Juan Soto, thanks for joining us. All right. Until next time, good journey, you guys. Bye now.